What if I told you that 2 supplies, some paste, and some color could give you incredible texture and dimension in your backgrounds? Today, I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite ways to combine them for a stunning effect you'll want to try right away. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? My name is Tiffany Solorio, and welcome to day 6 of 20 days of creative play, formerly known as 20 days of mixed media play. I think the new name fits all of the techniques a lot better. Now, every day we're going to be exploring a new prompt to spark creativity, and today we're combining paste with watercolor for backgrounds that are full of texture. And before we dive in, don't forget to grab the free PDF with all 20 prompts. That way you can follow along day by day or save it for when you need a little inspiration. The link is in the description box below. For today's video, I'll be using 3 different pastes. Now these are all opaque and from the Distress line. They are all opaque because I want the watercolor to soak into the paste. If I wanted a resist effect, I would use the translucent paste. I do actually have a free PDF that I'll link down in the description box below with all of the different pastes and how they react to the distress sprays. It will give you a good idea on which paste you want to use for your projects. So I'm going to be using the grit paste, texture paste, and also the crackle paste, along with a stencil, some mixed media paper, and then my distress watercolor pencil palettes. If you don't have these exact products, please do not worry, use what you have. Creativity is all about experimenting, and you'll see just how different each paste looks once we add color, so make sure to stick around for that comparison. All right, so I did label my papers. This is going to be the crackle, and I'm just going to put my stencil right here, and then I'm going to take the crackle paste, take my palette knife. This is just a silicone one. You can use whichever one you have on hand. And then I'm just going to carefully add this paste. Now I don't want to overwork the crackle paste and I don't want it too thin either. I want some areas that are a lot thicker than others because I like a lot of variation. So I want to make sure that I'm getting in all those circles just like this. All right, and we're going to lift this up, and I'm going to clean off my stencil, and then I'm going to add all of the other paste to the paper as well. All right, using the same stencil, I'm going to be using the texture paste. And I'm just going to do the same thing, spread it through that stencil. And it's very important that you make sure to use a good paper because we are going to be using watercolors, or you can use your sprays, whatever you have. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. I really want to encourage everybody just to go with the flow, use what you have. These are just prompts. You're not going to be graded on them, right? It's supposed to be fun, stress-free, so don't stress about it, okay? All right, so now we have that one. I'm going to do the same thing with the grit paste. All right, now I'm going to take the grit paste, again, doing the same exact thing. Perfect. Now I'm just going to let these dry, and then we will be back to add all of the watercolor. All right, now that the paste is dry, I am going to start with the crackle paste and show you how cool it looks when you start adding the watercolors. Now again, these are my Distress watercolor pencil palettes that I created using my watercolor pencils with the shavings. Because the watercolor pencils are woodless, it's easy to create these palettes, which is really nice to have, so you're not wasting any of the product. So I'm just going to start, and I'm actually going to add just a little bit of water, and then I'm just going to start adding some of this watercolor. And I'm using I think like speckled egg, weathered wood, stormy sky, I believe. Some sort of color combination of that sort. And you could see that that color goes straight into all of those cracks. It's really cool. Some of this blue. And you can do this as messily or as neat as you want. All right, so to ensure that this video is not any longer than it needs to be, I did decide to speed up this process of me watercoloring over the crackle paste, only because I'm doing pretty much the same thing and I don't want to waste anybody's time. I just really want to inspire everybody just to get their supplies out and to use them. And I do feel like everybody watercolors a little bit differently, so you do it how you want to do it. I'm just trying to inspire you to actually get your supplies out and create something. And again, don't stress about the end result. It doesn't need to be perfect. I am just taking my watercolors, again, I'm dipping my brush in some water and then adding it to my watercolor palette to pick up some of that color, and then going in and adding some of the color in different areas, pretty messily, as you could see. And then at some point I do decide to go in with some scorched timber. I think it's going to be maybe shortly. Yes, right here. And I actually really love that I decided to go in with some brown. It really brings a lot of that depth into the background, especially with all of those cracks with the crackle paste. It turned out amazing. So again, I'm just going between my cup with water, and then I'll go into the watercolor palette, pick up some of that color, and then go back and put that color on to my background. And here I'm just going to add a little bit more darker color just to add a little bit more depth. And I really like how this is turning out. So I'm just going to dry this. While I'm working on this background, I just wanted to remind you that I have some free PDFs you can download. The link will be in the description box below. I put these together because I'm really passionate about helping you feel inspired, getting those supplies out, just enjoying the creative process with confidence. You'll find the Distress Watercolor Pencil Combo Guides, a paste PDF, and of course, the 20 Days of Creative Play PDF, all designed to give you ideas and encouragement when you sit down to create. Kind of move around, do its thing, and I'm actually just going to set this aside to dry. All right, I'm going to be using similar colors just so it's a fair comparison, and then so you guys can just see, I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, and then again, I am just going to go in with those colors. Now on the texture paste, the watercolor just glides across, as you could see. It kind of soaks in here and there, and you can definitely do a lot of cool techniques with the watercolors on the paste. But we are just gonna, maybe, I don't know, I might change my mind, so don't hold it against me if I change my mind. But we're just gonna kind of watercolor on these. I don't know if we'll do anything else. We'll see. I think this video is already going to be pretty long. Just going to kind of splatter on some of that color, watercolor it on there, just to kind of get different looks. Use a little bit of water to help that get through that paste there. And then you could see that it kind of pulls up around that paste. And the same thing happened on here as well, but because of the cracks, the watercolor soaked into the cracks too, giving the circles a little bit more dimension. Pretty cool. I'm gonna add a little bit more gray. I think this is weathered wood or stormy sky. I don't know. I really need to label these because I don't know the colors very well off the top of my head. I think with each different medium, the distress colors have just a slightly different look, so it's hard for me to tell which is what. Now I'm going to add the scorched timber. As I'm adding color to the background over the paste, you'll notice I'm pouncing my brush instead of gliding it. Pouncing makes it easier to control where the color lands, especially on top of the paste compared to brushing it across. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, and then we're going to dry. I'm just going to add a little bit more water splatters to the background, and then I'm going to set it aside to dry. All right, so I'm going to work on the grit paste, and let me show you. Hopefully that shows up why it's called grit paste. It's very textured and one of my favorite pastes to use. I'm speeding this part up since there really isn't anything new to explain. I'm using a different paste, the grit paste this time, but the process is exactly the same as the other two backgrounds. The only difference is the end result, and that comes from the paste itself. I'm adding color, a bit of water, splattering on some more color, splattering on some more water, and then repeating those steps until I like how the background looks. Once I'm happy with it, I'll go ahead and dry it. Now you may have noticed that I've placed my paper on a cookie cooling rack. I love using these whenever I'm working with sprays or watercolors. It lifts the paper up off the surface, helps prevent those puddles along the edges from turning into a muddy mess, and it also lets the air circulate underneath while I'm drying, which speeds things up in my opinion. And the best part is it frees up one hand so I can add water, splatters, or whatever else I want while I'm heating the background. Using cooling racks has really been a game changer for me when creating backgrounds like this. I'm going to add some last minute splatters of water to the background, and then I'm going to set this aside and let all of the backgrounds dry. And stick with me because you don't want to miss the result. All right, so here is a reveal of all three backgrounds. They are all amazing, and it's crazy how just changing the paste can change the whole look of a background. As I'm showing you a little up close to all of the backgrounds, I want to know which one is your favorite. So here's the crackle. Here's the texture paste. And here's the grit paste. Drop your answer in the comments, and remember, this is just day 6. And if you haven't already, grab your free PDF with all 20 prompts. It's linked below. And that way you can follow along, try new ideas, and keep your creativity flowing. I hope this inspired you to play with what you have, even if it's just one paste. If you share your projects on social media, don't forget to tag me. I'd love to see your take on these prompts. And be sure to subscribe because I'm inching my way to 100,000 subscribers, and I would love for you to join the community. And as always, don't forget to stay creative, and I will see you all for day 7.